All right, guys.
Oh, no.
Guess what we're talking about this week?
What, Matt?
Oh, it's a big shock. We're talking about While you wanted to watch this film. You got us to watch it. We have some thoughts. Bridge to Terabithia.
You look like you're going to forget what it's called halfway through.
No. It was good. Let's let's do what we normally do. Roll the credits. Welcome back to Tripod Talk, where we talk anything and everything about films. My name's Matt Lisder. I am your host, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Miss Sophie Ellis. Hi, I'm Mr. Adil Anwar. Hey. Hi and hey. How are you doing, guys?
All right, how are you?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Dill?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Well, we're all good. We're all ready to talk about some stuff. But first, we're going to talk about some film news, everything that's been going on, up-to-date stuff. Maybe not just all film news. I've got some TV news too. But yeah, and then we're going to go into Bridge to Terabithia, which that should be fun. So, does anybody want to start us off with any film news, first of all?
I can.
Hey.
Like.
Mm-hmm.
So there always seems to be big periods in between the wait of updates about Elizabeth Banks' reboot on Charlie's Angels. Did you hear about that?
I heard she wasn't involved in it anymore.
Oh.
Unless she's directing it.
She's directed and acting in it.
Yeah, but she's not
okay.
one of the main.
Yeah, and I heard about the main characters.
Being Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, and Ella Balinska.
Yes.
Is that how you say them?
I don't know. I just saw a quick.
And Naomi Scott's going to be in
Thinking
the
about
Aladdin film as well that comes out.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, apparently. I think she might be playing Jasmine. Sounds
Oh.
like.
Mm.
Fair enough. Well, what do you think of those as the main three angels?
I was never really into Charlie's Angels or know that much about it, so I'm not
It's
asked.
a bit before our time, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was because it seemed a bit dated when we...
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
get
seemed
when it
that.
got
like
to us.
dated when it first came out.
It's
Never
like
mind,
Knight
like
Rider.
actually anything now. But yeah, no, well, just whatever they want to do with that, they can do.
I like Elizabeth Banks. She kind of did
She's
the whole
great.
Pitch Perfect thing and everything, so she can...
Did she?
Yeah, I think
Oh.
she directed the second one.
You like Pitch Perfect, don't you?
I like the first one, I haven't seen the second one.
Moving on to kind of a parody film. Ryan Reynolds wants
Ah,
to...
damn it.
Oh, sorry, was that yours?
Yeah.
Wants to
Girls
create
Can Own
something called Stoned Alone.
Which is basically
Comedy
just a
film.
kind of Home Alone, but guy stoned.
Mhm.
Yeah, in this movie, a 20-something pot smoker misses a flight for his holiday ski trip. And instead of trying to catch the next flight or figure something out, decides to just stay home and get high. Just gets paranoid, thinks there's an intruder, and then it just goes from there.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. It is a good premise, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah,
Especially if you're into stoner films as well. So, I don't know. It feels like they're kind of just making money off an idea that's already been done. But then again, that is Hollywood, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I suppose they're doing something at least a little bit different with it, rather than just everything that Disney's doing now, like
Yeah.
live action everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
remake.
was part of my my next film news.
Okay.
I was talking to Matt this morning. Lady and the Tramp is probably one of my favourite Disney's, 1 and 2.
Mhm.
And obviously
There's
they
2 of them.
announced... Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't even know.
The second one's amazing.
I thought there was 3.
No.
Oh.
Is it just called Lady and the Tramp 2?
No. Scamp's Adventure. Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. It's
Scamp.
Trump's son.
Tramp.
Scamp.
Tramp's Done Scamp. That's funny.
Yeah, they've got like 3 other kids. Yeah, they're so cute. Anyway, they're making a live action with director Charlie Bean, who directed Lego Ninja Go movie. And it says on this, the first voice hired for one of the CG critters. You wouldn't class a dog as a critter, right?
No.
Yeah, so
Unless
that
there's
annoys me.
another animal that's not a dog in there.
Yeah, or they use
No,
critter as like a
she's-
general term for all of them.
Yeah, because Ashley Jensen is voicing the Scottish dog Jock, which was a Scottish man originally, but they're changing it to be a girl.
Who, sorry?
Ashley Jensen.
Jensen.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's not what I was thinking.
So it's kind of annoying, just because. Why do you need to change it to a girl? You've got your plot there. Stop it.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I want to bring it up with you, Dale, while we're on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What seems to be the case at the moment? We've covered a little bit of it, like to do with the whitewashing stuff and anything that Scarlett Johansson seems to be in at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But when is diversification okay, or like, because there seems to be a point now where they're doing diversification in films just for the sake of it, rather than actually trying to enhance anything of like the plot, or it just seems like, well, like with this specifically, well, not specifically because I'm not that asked about it. I don't think it's that big of a thing, but like the point's still relevant that they're changing a character simply just because they can.
Yeah.
Like when is it okay to diversify your characters in such a way, and when is it done right? I don't, because it seems to be like we have quite a lot of stories now where it's not done right and people are kicking off about it. And there's like a couple of series you've watched. Death Note, they changed like a major character in that. Anything that Scarlett Johansson's been in, like I said. Yeah, what was your opinion on that?
I mean, I think there has to be some like kind of commercial. You just got to think logically as well. Like these are still business making endeavors, and they've got to make money. And like in the Skyscraper, the new Rock film, he plays an amputee, and people are saying like, you know, he's not an amputee obviously because they've got a real amputee in. Real amputee is not the box office. That's redundant. So I think when people go too far, they kind of take away from the whole discussion.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about like trying to, especially with things where it's more of an actual original perspective on that stuff, you'd rather have some honesty with it. So I'd rather watch something like, if it's something to do with a disability, say, I'd rather watch a new story from somebody who kind of understands it and is involved in it and have an actual actor who has it than have like, so a bit like the Scarlett Johansson, like the trans thing she was doing, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't, I get being an actor's just taking a part of an experience and stuff like that, but it's at such a, and like in 30 years I don't think it'll be weird at all for an actor to do that.
No.
But I just think at such a kind of crucial time it seems like you're taking away from the actual voice itself by doing it. So I don't know, it's a fine balance. Like with the Ghostbusters and things like that, I just think they kind of set themselves up to fail, because people are going to argue that, or people are already going to argue it's not necessary. Then you just set up the other kind of arguments about like people don't go to see films to see women and stuff like that, and it's just it seems like it's set up to cause controversy.
Yeah, which I don't want that to be a part of the conversation, but like just as a general, not just this conversation. But how's Ocean's 8 done? Because just like I'm thinking, like actually at the box office, if anyone can have a look, because I know Skyscraper's not done well at all. Like it looks like it'd be lucky to even make its money back now. So like to actually then say, take that, you know, like Dwayne Johnson is the main star in that, and that's who the draw is, and now this film isn't actually even able to make it. It seems like it's projected to not even make its money back.
Can you say you're entirely surprised by that, though? Because even though Dwayne Johnson is this big guy and he's in a lot at the moment, I think that's his downfall. People are like, oh, it's just him in another movies.
Yeah, well, no, I think there's many factors to do with that. Like, you know, this is
I
the
think
second or third. No, it's like the third disaster film he's been in like last couple of years. Like San Andreas, Rampage, this now, and yeah, it's a lot to do with overexposure with The Rock, which he shouldn't have taken that many roles.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get why, but at the same time, it's not helping right now.
It got number one at the weekend. So far, it's earned American domestics 136 million. Its budget was 70 million. The production. So Ocean's 8 has done, you know, all right. It's not blowing any minds. 17th movie of the last year apparently. So
okay.
it's kind of
okay.
it's about what I'd expect.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it's not that, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's amazing. It shows that women can do this. It's sort of lined equally as I feel it should have.
I would just think, I don't know, in general I'd rather have new stories and stuff coming along, so just it's not even the diversity remakes, just all the remakes are kind of a bit annoying to me. Like especially unless you're trying to, like, at least with the Stone Alone he's trying to put a new spin on it. But where it's literally just like, we'll cast whoever the biggest thing is right now and then kind of just throw in a cheap director and do like a basic kind of try and please as many people kind of films. Those are the ones that kind of get on my nerves more so than when they actually try and do something interesting with them.
Cool. I don't want to get too much into it, otherwise we're not going to get into
the actual film.
any more films and stuff like that.
You alright for me to carry on with bits of film?
Yeah, if
Sorry
you've
if I
got a
steal
couple
any
more
of yours.
stuff.
You already have, it's fine.
Sorry. Robert De Niro ready to join the Joker?
Okay.
The Joaquin Phoenix one.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Has it said any sort of role that
Although
you'd be playing?
No, it
he's
just says
said
that-
yes to everything for the last decade, so it doesn't really say much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just says that he's in talks, but doesn't really say. But that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Can't beat Robert De Niro. And finally, Peter Dinklage attached to star in Rumpelstiltskin. That's Sony.
That
Okay.
sounds irritating.
But obviously, his time in Game of Thrones is going to be over fairly soon, with Game of Thrones announcing that it's going to be the first half of next year that it comes out. So
Yeah.
sorry, what?
You just nicked my film news with this. I was like,
Oh,
that's
the
a
Was that
perfect...
news.
TV news?
Oh, yeah. That was my
Ah.
TV when I was like, that's a perfect segue. And then you just said it
All right,
anyway.
guys, you guys do film news first, then.
No, it's
That's
all
alright,
right.
you get
I was
through.
interested about that, though. Yeah, it says season 8 will be airing in the first half of 2019,
Yeah.
which means it's been like coming up to 2 years by that point since the last series came out, which you still need to catch up on.
I do.
But
I got bored of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy to.
I did like halfway through like season 5 and 6.
So was I, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit overhyped. It's a bit like just the mass appeal of it, so everyone's watching it, and then it's kind of easy to think it's really smart and deep, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
If like you're not someone who's that into the kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like I think maybe I haven't seen Westworld, but that's having a similar kind of effect where people are loving talking about Westworld like theories and thinking that
That's
they're
why I
kind
can't watch it.
of smarter than they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
like
I've
when
not
that
got it,
first
yeah.
came out, I really wanted to watch that, but now I'm just too far behind. I'll be like,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too much of an effort to get back up to date with it.
But yeah, just quickly with the Game of Thrones. Sorry, it seems like they might be releasing the rest of either season 8 or whatever it is, season 9, in the latter half of 2019, maybe, because there's only 6 episodes.
Do you think they'll do two loads of 3?
Well, no, season 8's like I think that's the normal 10 episodes,
Okay.
or maybe it's like 7 episodes, and that's coming out in like the first half, and then the second half, I think they're going to release season 9.
Oh, really? In the
Yeah.
same year?
I think so, because that's what it was.
That'd be surprising.
Yeah, you think they drag it out a bit more, but to be honest, I think they've wasted a little bit of a opportunity.
Momentum.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because then it's a bit too long in between series. Like the only series that seems to do that well is Sherlock,
Yeah, that's true.
but that's because they put so much into it.
Yeah,
like
they're like
in
a
each.
full film each episode, so you
Yeah.
have to give them a bit of a pass.
Yeah. So yeah, you look like you were gonna add some.
Yeah,
more.
that's
No, I was just double checking regarding you talking about the episodes, and then I've just, after a year,
No, you've not
Spoiled
spoiled
a
it
few
for
things
yourself.
for me.
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
that's happened.
I avoided it for a year. Okay.
You'll forget.
So yeah, I know. Let's move on.
Okay, last bit of news from me. Hoping I've not nicked it from you, Dill.
That's fine.
Still to do with 2019. If everyone saw the trailer for Mowgli,
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw this.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize Andy Serkis is actually directing it, which is cool. But now the rights have been bought by Netflix, so instead of going to cinemas now, it's
Yeah.
going straight to streaming services, which is interesting. Like such a big, like, 'cause I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers is behind it. Like they're the ones actually distributing it, but then it's going straight to Netflix. So
Yeah.
very strange.
They get
but
they want the film market, don't they? Like they
Yeah.
were trying to push for some awards contention this year, and they're trying to get big in that area, which I'm on board with. It's nice. It's just the convenience of Netflix is like hard to beat.
So yeah, I found that was interesting, considering it seems to be quite a big hyped film. Though Jungle Book again, like it seems like they've done too many of this,
Yeah, I know there is quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
like recently anyway. But
Same with Tarzan though. I swear there was like three remakes in a couple of years.
yeah, it was like a
That's
couple of years ago,
strange,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, we'll leave past that. Dill?
Yeah, I've just got a couple of quick things. They're going to make a film of the Batman, which was originally Ben Affleck was going to direct and star in. Then he was just going to direct. Then he was just going to be in it.
yeah.
Like now they've said apparently the director who has got it wants somebody 15 to 20 years younger than Affleck, someone 25 to 30. So we might get a new Batman. So be
Yeah.
interested to see kind of if
Well,
they
he
go
seems to
unknown
be
with that.
completely out of it. Like he
He's
doesn't
lost
want
his
any part of it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Why?
he had a bad experience.
I mean, Batman vs Superman didn't do well. Justice League didn't do well at all. Like, I think he just wants to get out of that. You know, the way that all the films are looking and the way they're actually performing, that's something he doesn't really want to be attached to, which is fair enough considering
the DC v Marvel thing. You don't want to be the DC guy at this point in time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so, like... Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. I was going to say another thing was Simon Pegg's been interviewed, and someone asked him if you could make a sequel to Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, or The World's End, what would you do? And he said he'd go Hot Fuzz, kind of off the storylines of the other two, kind of wrap up, don't they? But he thinks if they would do it, it would be Nicholas Angel, his character, taking Nick Frost's character Danny to the city, like a kind of Crocodile Dundee 2 is the thing he said, but a reversal of plot.
Yeah, no, that'd be really good.
Would that be the one of the three you choose if you could have a sequel?
100%. Hot Fuzz is my favourite one.
Is it?
By far, yeah. Like,
Hot
I like
Fuzz you
Shaun
can
of the
keep
Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead's up there for me.
Like, yeah, no, Hot Fuzz for me was just there. It's one of my favourite films.
World's End's got a lot of depth to it, actually. Like, with his character in the World's End, he said, like, it's his favourite character he's ever played. Like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's an interesting person in it, with the kind of, you know, sticking... His life peaked when he was 18, and... he kind of tries to live that way. Like, I think that's there's a lot more people out there than we'd probably realise who are a bit like that.
Yeah.
Like, living in their 20s at the age of, like, 50.
Yeah.
You see it when you, like, you know, every time you walk around town and there's, like, a gig going on, there's a bunch of, like, mums and dads and, like, a bunch of metal gear. It's a bit like, what's going on here?
Yeah. It's a little jarring.
Yeah. Simon Pegg also said in that interview he doesn't think Ethan Hunt should ever be recast. Which I was curious about. Would you you think Mission Impossible is Tom Cruise?
Yeah. 100%.
At this point, so you wouldn't want anyone else in it. You'd want it to drop. Would you want them to do one where the end of it for him, or would you rather it just kind of ended in the middle? If you know what I mean. So they keep it indefinite each time.
I kind of like the idea of it just keeping it indefinite, just because that seems like the way it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Like he's just quite like it would almost make sense for the character. Like he's just quietly doing stuff, but you're just not seeing the film of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I almost really wouldn't want to see like a going into happy retirement thing.
Yeah, no, I'd hate that.
It'd destroy the kind of message of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's completely against like the whole idea of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if anything, you could if they did it over the next like it's too much Tom Cruise. Like he produces it. He's like a major player behind it. I swear he owns like some of it in terms of like the actual idea or something. Anyway,
right.
I don't know if that's a fact or not, but yeah, if they kind of transitioned so it was, although it feels a bit like what they tried to do with Indiana Jones and that just didn't work with, like someone else taking the mantle, not of Ethan Hunt, but a different character, and that's Mission Impossible.
They were going to do it with Jeremy Renner, but that didn't look like it was panning out, did it? People just weren't that on board with it.
Yeah, that's a bit of trivia for the fourth one. Yeah, it was the fourth one, wasn't it? Which, to me, is the worst one ever. We're talking about Mission Impossible some other time.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the next one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other time with Mission Impossible and stuff.
Yeah,
no, if anything, the way I'd do it is you just keep Tom Cruise, and if he doesn't want to do him, then maybe do one in like 10 years' time where he's like comes like out,
like
not out of retirement, but like just pretty much.
But that's the thing is like it's such frantic action that I think you kind of have to be in physical, like it's all about him physically doing stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why like we'll talk about the next one when we do the podcast, which is probably the next one we're doing, but he gets a lot of crazy stuff done in this one and you can tell it's physically him.
Yeah.
So I can't really see where he can go from there. Like what is there left for him to do? Like go into space?
Yeah, if anything, like do like physically. The atmosphere from space to
he's done underwater, he's done helicopters, he's done everything. Like there's not much left Tom Cruise hasn't done. He's jumped out of a plane unassisted. Yeah. So yeah, like I just kind of want it. I think indefinite might work as well. Just suddenly there's no more films.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's my film news. I just thought.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. But shit, I just realised what time we're on. Shall we go into Bridge to Terabithia?
Sure.
Okay, so do you want to give us a little bit background about the film, Soph?
If you give me
to. Yeah, so we decided to kind of go a little bit more down memory lane. We've done that recently with a couple of films, and this week, Soph decided to show us Bridge to Terabithia.
She was buzzing.
I love the film.
Which is a film dear to your heart.
It is.
yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about, please, in case people haven't seen it?
Okie dokie. I tried to write a brief thing, but this has come through more than brief. We'll see. The story follows a boy named Jesse whose home life isn't really ideal. He doesn't get the love and attention by his dad that all of his sisters seems to have. And the main way he gets through it is by drawing and various different types of cartoons that he creates. He gets bullied in school, and it all seems to change when a new girl, Leslie, comes through, and she's like a wacky dressed weirdo that seems to captivate him when she's reading out a essay. And it just shows that they're both creative minds come alike, and then they just become best friends, don't they, really?
Yeah.
Which, shipping children seems so weird, but throughout the entire film
They are cute together.
they are.
But
And really quickly, I told you from the start that your favourite character would be the little sister. How much did you love her?
oh, she was
Yeah, she
very,
was
very
great.
cute.
She's
Oh,
great.
she was great in that film. Yeah.
She's great in every film. She's
Yeah, I
she's
feel
an
like I
actress.
recognise her, and I was like, I know I've seen this kid in other stuff, but I can't put a finger on it right
she's
now.
all grown up now. It's weird.
Yeah,
don't
you
know
said
now.
she was in a horror film.
She was in Strangers Pray at Night. She was the main girl in it, but we never got around to watching it.
Oh, it'd be weird to see her like
Yeah,
that age.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's weird. Yeah. So, did you enjoy the film?
I thought it was good. It was of its time with the certain CGI that's used in it,
Yeah.
and that just kind of shows the age of the film, I think, rather than take away from anything.
Yeah.
But I think it was a nice. Well, we'll get more into that. But it was a nice universe to like be in for like 2 hours. You know, it was a nice.
An hour 25.
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna last 2 hours.
It was a nice story to follow up until a certain point, but yeah. Oh. So just showing us the grown-up version of is it Joey King?
No.
No, Bailey Madison.
Ah, who's Joey King?
Joey King's one with a small face that's in Slender Man 2.
Ah, okay.
Kissing Booth and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, no, I've seen it from Slender Man. But yeah, going back to the British Terabithia story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a good time up until one point. And that's
what's
all I'm
this
gonna.
one?
That's all I'm gonna say up until spoilers.
Yeah, we'll get
Okay.
into that. Yeah.
Dill, what did you think?
I mean, I'm a little more kind of unsure on how I really feel about it. There was some stuff I felt was kind of weird, and I definitely thought it's only going to work on a specific type of kid, this film. Like, it wasn't as the whole lose yourself in that kind of escapism / mental health issues, and like just to that degree, and just the kid, like, a lot of kids I don't think it would really associate with, especially nowadays. Like, I think if you put that with like an average Fortnite WhatsApp kid who's got their own phone at the age of 9 now, I don't really see it connecting with them as much as it might have done 10 years ago, say.
No, wouldn't, and I think that's why, because
So I don't think it's aged very well.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it's hard to with, say, the graphics and the nature of it, and it is coming from like a book adaptation as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I say, it was from. I think it's a film from its time. And
It's a film for
that's-
weird kids, basically.
thank you.
Like, it's a film for kids who never quite fit in, and
Yeah.
I like the fact that it really is like trying to make kids watching it who are like that feel okay with that it's
Mm.
all right to be solitary and to not feel you fit in with your family and everything, and just kind of it's okay to lose yourself in your imagination to a degree.
Yeah.
But I also kind of had some issues with the film itself,
Okay.
and especially that moment you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. No, we'll keep
Okay.
that for spoilers then. I just want to.
Oh, wait, okay.
Just before going into any sort of spoilers as well, I just want to bring up the actual actors in it, because I thought everyone played a role very well in this film to kind of show the story of these characters. You don't know.
I think everyone apart from some of the bullies in it just seemed a bit. I don't know.
Some of the bullies were a bit bad, yeah.
Mm.
And then it was the inconsistency with, like, I think sometimes Hollywood gets a bit too keen to the whole, bullies are just the people who have the horrible home life, and if you show them a bit of love, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
When it's just like, people try that, and it's not like you're torturing kids one day, and then the next day you like jump up next to the bus and you're like, hey.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
doesn't work that easily.
Kids can just be bullies because they're arseholes, not because they've got something going on with them.
Same with all people.
Well, yeah.
So don't try and make kids like some of these mythologized, like every kid's got a beautiful soul thing.
Yeah.
So nope, some kids are just thick and annoying.
Yeah.
I was gonna. The only like slack I'll cut for that is that, it's still a kids' film that's got relatively small time to kind of make that distinction between like from this character's journey from here to there.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why it does that. But
did you notice the age range in his class at school was like, there was, I swear there must have been an age range of at least 8 to 10 years of the actual kids who were meant to be in that class. There was some there was some 12-year-olds, and then there was some people with like goatees, and, like looks like they've got mortgages and driving license and stuff.
Like the kid from Moonlight.
Oh my god! Yeah.
The ginger kid, the ginger bully, the secondary bully.
Oh,
his voice was genuinely deeper than mine is now. Like he talked, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like it's like Patrick Warburton suddenly came on the scene.
Oh, he's a good guy. But no, I just wanted to particularly point out Josh Hutcherson, Anastasia Robb, and Patrick Wilson as well. I thought they had really good roles in this.
The
dad.
Robert Patrick Wilson.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, Robert Patrick was really good though.
Yeah. Patrick Wilson, bloody hell. That'd have been a different film. But yeah, any non-spoiler stuff before we go into spoilers and sound the clacks? And
I kind of want to go straight into the spoiler because I've got more stuff to talk about to do with that.
Okay, cool. So does anybody want to sound it?
You do it.
It's done.
Okay.
Right.
So
yeah, do you want to talk about the moment that we're on about?
Yes, so as the film progresses and you see them sort of best friends and you think everything's going all right, Jesse's character gets invited somehow by his hot teacher. Yeah, I know it's a weird part. He gets invited by a teacher that he's got a crush on to go around galleries, and when he gets back he finds out that Leslie had died swinging the rope getting to Terabithia. And then from there, obviously, it shows how he deals with the death. And I think as much as people kick off about because they weren't going to do the film at all, because it does say that it's the first, and as of 2017, only Disney feature film featuring the permanent death of a major child character, which is what I mentioned to you. But the reason that it was done is because the book was created by a girl called Catherine Patterson.
Yes,
about her son whose best friend got struck by lightning and died, and
she wrote it for her son.
Yeah,
to try and help him through it.
And then he ended up helping produce the film, like years on. And I just think that's such an act because the raw emotion that you can tell in how confused he is dealing with it. Like he went to go and pay his respects and he didn't understand what that meant, and he said to his teacher that he should take Leslie next time. There's that sort of confusion, but a bit of a stretch to him thinking it's not real, and that must have been what he felt when he was younger.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to include that because kids do die.
Yeah, finding out that afterwards made it a bit less annoying to me, but like and upsetting. But it still didn't quite, because I didn't feel like it that was a proper message it was getting across. It just felt like they were just like two kids. Okay, one's dead.
Oh, do you think?
So like, but they just didn't, like it didn't have any kind of a, because I get that the point they're making is just that it's random and this just shit stuff does happen and you just gotta kind of deal with it. But it just felt like piling on that Jesse kid, and then I wasn't sure what you trying to get across with that. Like he makes himself feel guilty, and that just felt because he didn't invite her, which I saw come in, and that just felt, overtly aggressively just putting a load of trauma on this kid for not much of a reason. Like, I don't think I didn't think it was necessary as part of the film. And it wasn't just, the teacher thing annoyed me throughout.
Yeah, the teacher thing was irritating. Oh, sorry, there's a flickering light.
Yeah, we better get the rock salt.
The teacher thing is irritating, and I understand that it seems, why do all this to the kid? Why does he have to be bullied? Why does he have to have all this bad stuff happen to him? But it does show that Leslie'd shown him something that he was never able to capture himself because he was so, not depressed because he was a child. But he could never reach that place. And even though she'd died, he'd finally got that love and that hug from his dad and that sort of comfort that he'd wanted. And then in the end was able to take his sister and show her this whole new world, which he was never going to do while Leslie was around. I know it shouldn't take someone to die for that to happen. But
even that world, though, like, I just wasn't, like, what it was actually kind of encouraging is, like, kids, like, just go in the forest, just go somewhere by yourself and make up something to get you through it. But it just felt dangerous to me, what it was kind of get across. Like, the kids go in the woods and start building stuff in trees and stuff. Like, what the hell kind of a weird message is that to send for a way of dealing with any kind of problems as well? It's just, like, bury yourself in some fantasy world rather than trying to address things. And then he doesn't seem to... I just didn't seem like it was consistently getting across anything. I'm like, when the death happened, obviously it was like a confusion thing, like what's going on here, which is understandable. Like, I think in the moment, the emotions are probably what they were trying to get up, but then it just didn't take it where I thought it could be useful or like do anything with it.
See, I'm in very two minds of this, because at first watching it, it was like, I was very confused. Felt like the character, like, it literally did a complete 180 in terms of where I thought the story was going. Which, in hindsight, for me, I think I appreciate that more, because it well, I don't want to say nice, but it was interesting to watch something go so completely different to what you expected. But I think I like the way that it was handled. Because, like, I think it did kind of harbour some message in that there are ways that you can, things just happen in life, but you have a way to deal with them.
Yeah. And,
like, that's what this kid did. But I was still very shocked in the moment to be like, oh, this has happened. I don't know how I feel about that now. I was literally shell-shocked for like 5-10 minutes.
Seeing your face.
Yeah, like, and I don't remember the last film that's ever done that to me. So, like, on that point, fair merit to it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air about it, because I'm just pausing now to actually think what I'm going to say. No, again, I didn't like the teacher thing. I thought that was weird.
Did you notice how I was more shell-shocked. I was still shell-shocked from when he said, when he got out of the car and he said, like, oh, maybe we can do this again. Like, they was literally the exact same script they would take from the end of a date.
Yeah.
So I just felt uncomfortable with that. Like, why is the teacher doing that? Then it was like, all right, so the teacher was clearly just added in backwards to give him an excuse to be out when Leslie dies.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. Or maybe just because she felt bad. She knew a kid was like, had a crush on a teacher at school, and she was trying to make him feel a bit better about it.
Yes.
See, I thought it was just an excuse to get Zooey Deschanel more in the film. As soon as it came on, I was like, yeah.
They could have done it many other ways. They could have done it where, when his dad had a go at him for losing the keys to get his head out of the clouds, they could have done it where he was in a mood, he told Leslie, then to get your head out of the clouds. And then she could have gone over there on her own, and then he could have blamed himself for it because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Even the way they became friends, like, it feels like he had very little to do with it. Like, she decided they were going to be friends. Yeah. She persisted, and then he just kind of got worn down. But, like, I don't know, like, he felt like he could have been anybody, but just somebody who believed what she was preaching.
Yeah.
So then it's just, like, a more charismatic, like, your more charismatic friend who you're kind of devoted to kind of dies. Then it's just piling on that poor kid.
Yeah.
Though a lot of friendships do happen that way, so I didn't think it was like unrealistic for that to happen or anything. I think that's more the point that maybe I was like going on about before, and to do with the twist. It's like it's gone from such an unreal plot, like, well, not unreal, but like, you see all this kind of CGI characters and the way they're kind of evolved in this world, and you're like, oh, this is some sort of fantasy shit, and then it gets super real too quick out of the blue, and he just kind of like snapped into something where you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm just a bit kind of, I don't know exactly where I feel on it yet, but overall I think it's a good thing.
I can't imagine not being jarred, and anybody watching it and not just coming out of it like slightly confused and upset and not sure. Like,
which I think is exactly the point.
Yeah, but then it's just you hope that gets wrapped in a kind of more conclusive message in the end, whether it's uplifting or not. But it just kind of added. I mean, if this is what they were trying to do, then it's fine, it's good. But I don't think what it was what they were trying to do, because she wrote it for a kid to try and make him understand it was all right. And I didn't come out at the end being like, you know, she died and it's tragic, but like he learned, like you said, like the examples you gave before, that he took his little sister there and that he kind of got a better relationship with his dad. That just, because throughout the whole film, the way it worked was he'd get in an argument with his dad and then he'd be at music class and his head would be down however long later. So first off, those kind of got on my nerves, because that's not the way you are as a kid. Like, if you're upset, you don't just hang your head for the next day at school. You just kind of a little bit upset in the back of your mind, and it comes out here and there.
It depends on the kid, though.
But I still don't think any kid, so say something bad happened the last day, it's going to be the next day in school in the afternoon. You're not still going to be looking all moody because of that happening. Like, enough would have happened to have made you forget about it. Kids don't have attention spans like that. Maybe like very specific kids do, who get like caught up in that kind of moment. But that just kind of, I would get thrown out by those cuts. Well, like, there's one particular one where he was kind of in a bit of a thing with his dad, and then it cut to him at music class. It was an evening. Then it cut to him in music, kind of with his head on his hands. And I was just like, well, that's not the way a kid would be right there. Like, it wouldn't just be, he'd be clearly moping all the time. And plus, when you're at school, you try and, you know, you're putting on a front the whole time as a kid to try and get by. Like, he's gave up to a certain degree in that situation. But there was just little things that I thought didn't make it seem fully real to me, and then I just didn't get, at the end, I didn't get the kind of the right feeling of a message or something kind of final coming through.
So yeah, I think it does depend on when you watched it, because when I watched it, I was 11. It's going 2007. And obviously, as someone who did draw, like, I didn't have a terrible like thing to get away from, but there was shit going on where you can draw and create little stuff, and me and my friends used to want to have like a big tree house and stuff like that. And being into films like Chronicles of Riddick and things where there's those little characters and stuff like that. Is that the right name of it?
Riddick's the Vin Diesel one.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a completely different film.
I don't think that's right. Narnia?
No, not that one.
There isn't any of the Chronicles films.
I know, unless you're thinking of the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That wasn't.
Chronicles of Riddick. There. Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, that's Vin Diesel.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, I definitely don't.
We'll have to stop this until I find out.
No, we get what you mean.
Spiderwick Chronicles.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's things we got there, but things where there's little creatures and there's things in the garden or little fantasy things. Because I've spoke to Matt that I've always been interested in doing, like, illustrating kids' books and coming up with ideas myself. So that's probably
it was
why my interest is there. So.
To be fair, you couldn't have got any closer to the Chronicles of Riddick Spiderwick Chronicles. I'll give you that one. But yeah, no, just to kind of wrap up this film, I thought it was a good film overall. I really liked the performances and stuff. I thought it was nice to kind of show how, like, you know, a kid with an imagination, and then, you know, you kind of go and do things and play with your friends and stuff, and you kind of see it. But then when you actually watch the film and see them see it, as in, like, actually in the environment, I thought was interesting. And, like, kind of a nice thing to kind of show kids as well. It's like, you can imagine this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe the twist with her dying, it could have been maybe led up to that point in a different way. Just like with, you know, like just the teacher.
Yeah, because everyone could feel something was off. And with the whole teacher thing, like, it didn't feel the natural part of the film.
Didn't.
Yeah, no.
You just
Matt was like, this is weird. And then when he came back, he was like, you were so shocked. Because there was a moment where Leslie runs and waves with the dog. And she's like, slow motion by. And you're like, imagine a car. And I was like, imagine. Know what was coming up. And I was like, what would you do? And he was like, I don't know. And then the next, like, couple of scenes, that happened. And me and you were, like, joking throughout the film, but as soon as that death happened, you were just, like, staring, and I was just crying behind a pillow. I do it every time I watch it.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
Like I say, I think it could have been done a little bit differently, but I think overall it has, like, a nice message, and yeah, I like the film.
It's well reviewed and well rated as well.
Yeah.
Should we do the 10-star movie review then?
There we go. So this is the 10-star movie review where we put films through the ultimate test. For every question we vote yes, that film gets
1 star.
Yes, the enthusiasm is riveting. The ultimate goal is
10 stars.
As there are 3 of us, majority vote wins, though half stars are up for contention when necessary. And a small disclaimer, the ratings we give don't always match our enjoyment or experience of the film. This is just a rating system.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do
Are
it.
you ready? Okay, question number 1. No, I'm not going to do that every time, don't worry.
Good.
Does the story make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Question number 2. Did the script and the dialogue between characters feel natural? For me, it does between certain characters, not between all characters.
Yeah, I think especially with his sisters, you know, the 2 older ones.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at them the entire time on the screen, like, you're trying way too hard to be like these cool teens and like giggling amongst yourself. I'd probably give it a half star just because it's some of the characters.
Plus, how come the sisters are like normal? What the stereotype of teenagers is there?
Yeah.
Like how come their background isn't influenced them in any way? Like they're cool, not interested teenagers.
Well, he's
girls.
the only boy though. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
you
it's
and
know,
like
his dad
that
puts
is-
a lot of pressure on him, I think,
Yeah,
to like work
to
with him.
But then he gets bullied for being a farm boy and for being poor and like he wearing hand-me-downs and stuff. That same stuff would have been happening to the sisters.
the
so
sisters
why-
are older though. They'd never have the hand-me-downs because it's
Well, they had the
their
hand-me-downs
stuff.
from each
One of
other.
them would have been,
Yeah.
at least.
It was,
Yeah, but they're girls stuff. That's what I mean. He's wearing girls' trainers. He has to have girls'
and he's a
things.
weirdly quiet kid as well.
Yeah.
Who just like some running.
trainers.
Apparently, that's what they do in kids do in schools.
it's
Have
strange.
races. I don't really know.
I also started to annoy me, like thinking about sports day. Do you ever have to do sports day?
Yeah.
At school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it not annoy you that you had to do it?
No, I love doing sports.
I used to cry
Loved. Don't look at my stomach like that.
I used to cry like two
Great.
days leading up to it because the teacher said you had to do it, otherwise you get detention.
Did you have to do like one
Jesus.
event though?
No, you had to be part of.
Is this in
each thing.
secondary school or
No,
primary school?
We didn't have sports day in high school.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
We
No,
just
in
logged
primary
off.
school we had.
Yeah.
To,
Plus, they always wanted like the best people to do it, so
Mhm.
like they got all like the really fast kids for the sprints and the runs and stuff, and then other people could just be like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm out."
yeah, we didn't have it in high school.
That's strange.
Yeah, that was all right actually. Just watching everyone else do it, it's good.
It's-
Anyway.
were you a part of the sports day stuff?
I usually did 1 or 2 things, yeah, but I was never that into it. I'm mostly just, it's not an actual sport. Like, I wanted actual sports.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a ball.
Having
Something
a
to run
fucking
after or
beanbag
hit.
on my head isn't a sport while I'm running down the hill. Let's move on.
Okay, yeah. So
Half
half
star?
star for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question number 3: did you believe that the world of the film existed? I'm gonna say yes.
And I'd say yes just because I was a weird child that believed in everything like that. So.
Cool.
Mm.
Star.
Yeah.
Okay. No star.
Oh, I'm just
That's
saying,
Yeah,
you
you
got the
wouldn't-
majority.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to vote.
Question number 4: did you believe that the characters existed in the world of the film?
Apart from the teacher, possibly.
Maybe.
Even the way the parents would like arguing about money at a table in front of them. Like, the kids are there watching a film. You still would go into a separate room. Like, you'd go in another room. Like, when he went missing for that day, but then I don't know. A lot of the people didn't feel too real for me. Like, she was whinging about her parents, but then you met the parents and they were fucking great. There was
Yeah, they
nothing
were.
wrong with her parents. So she's just another entitled kid with great parents who whinges about their parents, which there's way too many of those kids in the world from what I remember. Who are like, oh my god, my parents are so mean. Like, what? It's like, well, they only gave me 40 quid pocket money this week. It's like, oh, I hope you drown.
Yeah, but then you've got to think about it like just because it might not have happened to people, you know, like
These her
that's
parents are like, I don't know what your parents do. I'm not casting aspersions,
No,
but I'm
no.
saying like they're like writers. His parents, like they're more like
Like,
very
her parents are
educated.
writers.
Her parents are like, yeah, writers or artists or something, aren't they?
Yeah,
So they're like kind of educated, posh people in it.
yeah.
So they're the kind of people who have the, you know, they wouldn't be. Oh, you mean the kid's parents?
Yeah, so Jesse's parents like argue in front of him,
but then like his dad just made eye contact with him and continued arguing. Like you'd make eye contact, you'd leave the room or something like that.
I suppose. But then again, same with Leslie. Like she didn't say that they were horrible parents. She just said they don't really make time for her, which you can get because if they're both full time like writers, but the only time you do see it is just in that one scene where they were
dancing together. But you don't get that level of like kind of intimacy and fun they're trying to get across unless they actually have spent some real time with him. Because you do get parents who are just awkward around their own kids, and they're the ones who don't spend the time with him. So just a little inconsistency like that, and like the bully and like the teacher, even the two boy bullies, like sometimes they seem to want to hit him, sometimes they didn't.
Yeah.
Like I would have thought the way that bullying kind of works is either you're hitting all the time or you're not hitting.
Yeah.
But you never like kind of, oh, I think now is hitting it, now is appropriate, now is not. So it was a weird one. His teacher as well, remember later on, the older teacher who they didn't like,
I was gonna bring her
way
up.
too friggin' real with him, which no adult would do with an 11-year-old in good conscience. Like, that's just a bad thing to do. The kid is not capable of taking on board what you're trying to put on their shoulders. Like, and a real teacher who has any experience with kids in that moment would just be supportive and not put their own shit on a kid that age. So I think that there's lots of little stuff that made the characters seem sometimes more not quite real to me than others. That. So what was the actual question?
Whether the characters existed in the world of the film. So for me, I give it a half star because they existed in that specific film
I
universe.
can give it half, yeah, because I liked that some of them had realistic, like him and his little sister seemed good. Like he pushed her and then he was super apologetic to her because he's quite a sensitive kid. Like I bought that, and those two, the younger ones, kind of looking out for each other, and I did kind of buy the two main ones together, but more just like they seemed to get along more than the way they're actually written to get along.
Oh, really quickly, the one character that wasn't that believable, the bus driver, when she pretended to get tripped up and he just like chucked him off the bus and expected him to walk home.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That was annoying. But carry on.
So a half star.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so question number 5, did you get emotionally invested in the characters?
Yeah, but that's
I'm going to have to say yeah, because that took me by surprise and I had genuine emotion when she did die.
I definitely had shock. I don't think I was like, I was more upset with the film than upset with what had happened to the character, because I was just like, this doesn't make sense to me in the context of what I've been watching. So that just kind of like threw me out of the whole feeling of it. Yeah. Because then I was just like, well, what are you doing here? Like, this was played as a normal fantasy kids film, and then you just throw this very real thing down when all throughout you've kind of been flirting with but not really actually getting into the real stuff in their life. Like, they've not really addressed the parents being poor, but they've kind of flirted with it. They've not really got into the bullying, but they've kind of jumped with the idea of it. Yeah. So it just felt like so much of an escalation to me that I was more shocked than emotionally hurt. But yeah, I think I can see it getting the star. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Have you got this?
I'd have to give it a
full star.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 6. Did you like the visual and audible elements of the film?
All the Terabithia stuff was super poor.
I see.
Those squargles looked like blurry hedgehogs.
Yeah. See, I don't know whether to give it a half or nothing because, well, the audible were good, so I'll probably give it like half. But when you think a year later something like Iron Man came out, I can't give it the full star in terms of visual because it was only a year behind something like that.
But
which
a lot
looked
more
so
money's
good.
put into Iron Man, a lot more, like...
There's still, think about District 9 came out around the same kind of time. Alright, sorry, yeah. There are films that were made for very little money that have really good CGI in them.
Yeah.
But that just like kind of... And then I would have liked, actually, if they'd have done it a bit more kind of cartoonish and stuff, like what a kid would imagine. I think that would have been better than having to look like kind of like real things, but just not very good versions of real things. Like I think it would have been more effective if they even had like drawings moving about on the screen than the weird blurry CGI things that they actually got with.
I feel like it could have been a little bit more cartoonish in terms of what the characters, like the animals, could have been.
I noticed a couple of strange soundtrack choices as well. Like they threw a song in that the girl in the film sang, and it was because the subtitles was there, but I was just like, this is a little odd.
Yeah, she sang it afterwards. It did a music video. It's like your mind wide open.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't hear that. But I'm happy to give it a half star.
I'll give it a half star.
Okay.
Cool.
Question number 7: were you diegetically absorbed into the film?
Yeah.
I was at a certain point, but I wasn't all the way through.
I'd probably give it a half star. Yeah, I did enjoy it, and I think I always do this where I rag on films more than I actually like, more than not. Like, then after the podcast we stopped recording, I'm like, I actually quite like that film. It doesn't sound like that, does it? It just sounds like I've been shitting on the whole time. I don't know. My instinct is to be negative about it, but no, I was like watching it and kind of curious where it was going. It's just when that twist happened, I was a bit like, what?
Yeah.
And there was also a few moments before, like with the teacher and stuff, where I was like, this feels like it's leading or building to something or setting something up. But because I knew it was setting something up, it took me out of it, because I wasn't just in the moment. I was like, well, what's this leading to? And then I started to try and run ahead with it.
Yeah. I get that.
So half star.
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy with that?
Sounds fine.
Okay, cool. Question number 8: did the film have a good ending? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
I would say
I know
no.
you disagree.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yeah, just because it still kept it more real. I'm glad that they added it in, and
I think it stuck with you more, the stuff we did with the kid. And like, I did notice those things, but I think I was just still in a state of shock and just not really ready to take them on as good enough.
yeah. I think I've watched the film endlessly to like do an analysis on it and like essays for uni.
What was the essay kind of relating to about it?
I cannot even tell you. Like, I can't even remember. But well, it was like 6 getting on to 7 years ago now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was just before I started college. I had to write something to get into the college.
Oh wow. Well. So did he say what star did he give that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Did I give it a yes star, Matthew?
Yes,
Yeah.
a yes star. Question 9: did you enjoy the film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Someone
I was so unhappy with that. I just mean, like, when that happened, I was so taken out of it. And I was so like, just this hasn't built to this right, and this could have been a powerful message, but I'm just confused. So I guess that kind of almost detracted from the rest of the film for me, because I was enjoying it beforehand. I was just a little bit confused at points, but that really dropped it in the shit for me.
Yeah. No, I get that. Sorry. And question number 10: did the film have a personal impact on you?
We've got one with a yes.
Personal impact, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously it wouldn't be the same
Yeah.
for you two, so it don't really
You
matter.
can still make the. I'd say if you want to, you can try and like make a
the
case.
pitch.
Just
Make the
to
pitch.
tell us why it matters to you. Because it might.
No.
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 Fine.
I'm not going to get into it. But it, yeah, I understand why it wouldn't make any sort of impact on you guys. So I think it just depends how much
It's
you
not that
can
any
relate to a
impact on-
character.
Yeah.
So
Was it him you were relating to, or was it her?
him.
Okay.
If I've got my stars correctly, I believe we gave that 7 stars.
Really?
Yeah, it was good. I like the film.
I think if you know a specific, knowing it could kind of going off a kid, that if you know the kid and they're in the right age, like you could show them that film, it could have a really big impact on them. Like I can see that, but I can also just see like it's not going to work with a lot of kids, and a lot of people are going to come out of it a bit kind of confused and feel like they've been upset for no reason.
Yeah.
Like I can't see many people not being really upset by how in the film it gets across just how random and unfair and unnecessary everything seems.
Yeah.
Which that's where it got too real. Like it was effective, but it got a bit too real for what it was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice point to end off. Is there anything else you want to say before we end the podcast there?
No.
No. Dill?
Nope.
No. Alright, okay, so thank you very much for listening to this episode of Tripod Talk. If you'd like to keep listening to us, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, any sort of podcast platform where you can keep subscribed to us. If you do that, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been Matt Lister. I've been joined by Sophie Ellis.
Hi.
And Mr. Delamour.
See ya.
And we shall see you next week. What are we talking about next week, guys?
Mission Impossible.
I always do the wrong one.
Yeah,
I always do Spy Kids.
I was like, no idea there.
What's in Mission Impossible?
No, wait, that's not.
No.
That's it.
My God.
No.
You won't have to do that.
No. See ya.
Oh. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.